When it comes to writing a book, what's more important, having the mindset and the belief around the book, or the tactical strategies around how to create the book? Now, if you asked me when I first began, I would have said it's all about the strategy, it's all about the tactics, it's all about you got to do this to get this result. And I still believe that the tactics and the strategy is absolutely critical. But I also believe that the mindset and the belief is just as critical. And this is a lesson that I've learned over time, and I want to share with you because I think this really helped me as an author. It's really helped me as a partner. It's really helped me as a business owner and as an entrepreneur. And that is that in order to be great at whatever your craft is, at whatever you do, you have to understand that it's part magic, part logic. And that comes from one of our clients. She uses that in her book, but it's part woo, part tactic. Okay. It's part strategy and it's part mindset. And so I want to discuss here something that's really helped me, which is helping you understand what changes when you write a book. Okay, what changes when you commit to writing a book? What changes when you finish your rough draft? What changes when you launch your book? Because there is the mindset and there's the strategy, and I want to talk about the changes and the reasoning behind all that, because I just think that you have such a great story to share. And if you've been contemplating writing a book because you aren't sure how to do it, I think the question is not to ask, well, just how to do it, because there are people like me. There are plenty of people that can help you on how to do it. But I think it's about understanding, the mindset behind, do you really want to do it? Are you ready to embark on that personally? All right. Who do you have to be to write a book? And so I'm just going to dig in on this one, but and we're going to talk about the changes and why this happens. And so the first change that happens when you decide to write a book, or that when you release a book, or when you launch a book, is the first thing that happens is you change your confidence. Okay. Now let's dig into this. Your confidence changes the minute you've decided to write a book. Let's kind of break down the different areas here. The minute that you write a book, or that you commit to writing a book, confidence changes. Now, you still may have some of these limiting beliefs. You still may be like, holy shit, I'm actually doing this. Is anyone to read this? Am I actually the person to do it? But then once you actually start doing it, right? And you receive that help and you start actually doing it, in your mind, you start changing. Holy shit, I can do this. Holy shit, I'm really knowledgeable about this. And what happens is your confidence starts to change. By the time you actually launch the book, you are questioning why were you even hesitant in the first place? Because your identity shifts. And part of your identity shifts to becoming a best-selling author. But part of the reason that identity shifts is because you had the confidence and the mindset to do it. And then your confidence built because you put more effort and practice into it, which ultimately led you to have the ability to do the big thing. All right. Re-listen to that if you got a little confused with kind of how I brought that down. But let me give you an example here. One of our clients, Joe, I love this guy. And he goes and he writes a book and he's hesitant about doing it. But he tells me one of the biggest things is not all the speaking gigs, but it's who he became in the process of writing the book. How he had more confidence, that he actually knew what he was talking about, that he had more confidence in himself, and that he really did deserve to be on these big stages. He really did have what it takes to do the things he wanted to do, to charge the higher rates. And that's one of the things that changes is who you are in this process. The second thing that changes internally is your belief. Okay, your belief that you can do big things. One of our clients, she said, hey, I thought writing a book was only for billionaires or celebrities or people who have quote unquote done something. All right, but then she did it. She wrote the book. Not only that, she wrote it fast. And the belief that you can do big things allows you to start to think differently. It allows you to start doing things in a different way than you previously did before. It starts to turn your ceiling into your floor. Okay, my good friend Melissa, she talks about this all the time, is every time she levels up her beliefs, she's able to turn her ceiling into her floor. Okay, and I think this is so true when we're talking about writing a book, is that your beliefs, when you write a book and you complete that project, you have done something that so many people want to do, but so few people actually do. Your belief in yourself changes and it allows you to tackle bigger things. Maybe you had a revenue goal of 500,000, you write the book, now that goal becomes 1 million. Why? Nothing's changed other than who you've become in this process, because you believe that you could do more difficult things. You believe you can do more challenging things. You believe that you are the person who's capable of achieving those said results. But here's another belief that changes. When you write a book and you work on a book, you believe that you belong. Now, for some of us, that's believing they belong as in the author community as a whole. But for others of us, it's feeling that it's a belief that you belong in what you're doing with your life. This is powerful. Okay, this is powerful. And I think that this is something that I've experienced and that we've heard a lot of people tell us, is that when they write a book, they feel that they belong. They feel like this is where they're supposed to have been. And all of the other things they've tried have led them to this moment and led them to this book, and they can't be more grateful for that. And I'm the same way. Okay, I'm the same way. When I release a book and I'm working on a book, I'm like, this is where I belong. I'm still not the greatest writer, but I know that this book is going to transform lives, going to change my life in the process. I belong here. I belong to be doing this. The third big thing that changes, we have confidence, we have the belief, but it's the expert. Okay, the thing that changes when you write a book is your expertise. All right, and this combines everything. When people write books, the first thing that they say is like, holy shit, I really do know my stuff. I'm as good as I thought I was, or I'm as good as people have always told me. Okay? Sometimes we write books because we're like, am I actually as good as I think I am? I need to know. And the other times we write a book is because everyone tells me I'm so good at this, but to me, it's just obvious. Well, what's obvious to you is not obvious to everybody else. Let me make that very clear. Okay? I always tell people, don't overestimate what you think other people know, and don't underestimate how much you actually do know. Okay? You have so much life, so much experience, so much knowledge. I wrote a career development book at 23 years old with less than 1 year of work experience. Okay? I did not have the expertise that every single one of you that's listening does. Okay? And I still wrote a book and it changed my life. You can write a book based on where you're at. And when you do, you will know that you are more of an expert. Here's what also happens when you talk about expertise is you are seen as an expert, but here's what's even better is that once you finish your book, you start to talk like an expert. You sound different. You sound more in tune with what you do. Okay, every author that I work with, when they come in, they may be freaking awesome at what they do. The minute their book is done, they are a completely different level of how good they actually are. Why? Because they wrote the book, they built the belief, they built the confidence, they became somebody different in this process. They evolved to their next level self. Okay, this is freaking powerful. Every author goes through a massive transformation and it leads to bigger decisions. And I encourage you to explore this if that's for you. Okay. I encourage you that if you're committed to writing a book, to see who you become in the process. All right. I know it's on the other side of the adventure of writing a book, and it is something beautiful, but it starts with the mindset. It starts with the mindset. Okay. You have to decide that you are committed to the process. You have to decide why you're committed to the process. You have to be willing to do what it takes. You have to be able to weather the storms. You have to be able to do the ups and the downs. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but you can do this. And who you will become in this process will change. So that is what changes internally. Let's talk about externally. What changes? Well, how people see you changes. Okay. People, the minute you have a book, start to see you as the expert. Okay. The minute you release your book, you are no longer just, oh, this person who runs this business. You are, hey, let me introduce you to my friend who is the leader in personal finance for entrepreneurs. Okay, hey, let me introduce you to this person. They are the expert on real estate. Hey, let me introduce you to the person. This person is the expert for helping you if you're a mom who works in the legal profession. Boom. Okay, you are now seen as an expert because you wrote a book on something. You are perceived as to be more knowledgeable. Here's the other kicker, that expertise is like credibility, authority. You're just seen in a different light, okay? But let's talk about the knowledge, okay? When you write a book, people perceive you to be more knowledgeable about that topic as well because you are the expert. People assume experts are more knowledgeable. But here's the kicker. Many of these people will assume that you're more knowledgeable on your topic, whether or not they've actually read your book. And that gives you a huge opportunity to really share your knowledge and to be that person that they think you are. That's amazing. Another thing is how people see you changes. People start to come up to you. I'll never forget, I was giving a speech and I was walking around, and about an hour before my speech, and someone came up to me and they're like, hey, are you Jake? I'm like, I was real confused. I'm like, yeah. They go, hey, I've read your book. I'm coming to this speech later. I can't wait to meet you and hear you. I can't believe I'm running into you right now. And I was like, first of all, that was the coolest thing ever, right? Like, I mean, that was so cool. But what was also really, really important to recognize in that moment was that now people see you differently. And I believe that this is a form of positive responsibility. Many of us write books because we want to help people. Well, when someone's able to recognize you because of that work, because of that labor that you've put in to create a great book, there's that positive responsibility on you to make sure that, and you have a choice on this, but I believe that for myself, that now I have this positive responsibility to make sure that I take care of this person in the best way that I can, to make sure I deliver the greatest speech, to make sure that one encounter that they have with me is something that's memorable for them. All right, you hear about athletes, right? You see an athlete on the street, you go up to them. How they interact with you in that 1 minute is going to dictate your perception of them moving forward and how you're going to talk about them moving forward. Okay. Blake Griffin, for example, I'll never forget Blake Griffin because when my friend was dying, Blake came into the hospital and spent a couple hours with us. I'll never forget this. That moment changed my life. And I will always talk positively about Blake Griffin because of that experience. Okay. Many, many other people. Okay. And then here's the last thing that I want to share with you on how other people see you changing is that people want to start introducing you. We had somebody who just released a book. She was at a networking event, and previously she would attend a networking event as a member. But now she was at this networking event, and all of a sudden the host, someone who she didn't know all that well, the host started to bring her around, introducing her to everybody. He decided that because she wrote the book, she was now someone that he really wanted to introduce. So she went from being just someone who attends and does her thing and is connected with everyone to now being someone who's an author who's like, hey, we got to introduce you to this person. This person just wrote this book. You have a new level to you. And it is something that is hard to explain, but it's powerful. Your life will never be the same. But here's why all this happens when you write a book. And what are some of the benefits and results of this is you're seen as an expert. People trust you. People trust you because you've been vulnerable. You've shared your story. You've shared your message. People feel that they know you. All right. A great book has elements of you inside of it. Your experiences, what you've learned, what you've done, what you've tried, your belief system. Okay. This is how people trust you. They feel that they know you. People feel that they can relate to you. When someone reads your story, they're like, oh my gosh, I get it. I get it because that's how I've always felt. All right. What happens is people have spent hours with you reading your book. All right. So why does all this happen? Well, now people are reading your book. They're spending 2-3 hours with you. They feel that they know you or they know a part of you, and that builds connection, especially in a day and age like today. Okay. People feel that you have the answers that they seek. People are always looking to self-satisfy, right? So if you have something that someone else wants, well, now you've become more valuable to them in their eyes. All right. People start to believe that you're the best fit for them. People start to want to work with you. People start to refer you and do your marketing for you. All of these things happen because you committed to writing a book, because you said, I'm going to do the hard thing. You did the hard thing, and now you have this book. And you can get these benefits while you're writing the book. You can see these changes happening in real time. And that is what's really cool. Who you are in the book, it's so powerful. Who you are when you create a book. You change, you evolve. People will start to see you differently in a way that maybe you haven't always been looked at, maybe in a way that you've been seeking, maybe in a way that you want to be seen. But most importantly, you have growth when you commit to writing and launching a book. And that is so freaking powerful. So I know that I'm normally digging into the strategies and the tactics about everything, but I really did want to stress that so much changes when you write a book. And there is the just as much as we got to focus on the strategy and tactics, I want you to understand the mindset side of things, the identity side of things, because it is beautiful. I'll leave you with one more analogy, and this comes from my friend Aisha. She runs a podcast called The Butterfly Season, and she talks about these 3 stages, right? And how you're in your cocoon phase, and then you become your butterfly. And I'm not the expert on that. She is, but I'll tell you this. When you are writing a book, for a lot of people, it's leaving a cocoon and entering your butterfly season. All right. You've been told to write a book. You've wanted to write a book. You've had this pull to write a book, but something inside you's always stopped you. All right. You've been catered around this shell. And then all of a sudden you write this book and you start to break free. And then all of a sudden the book comes out and your life will never be the same because you are flying like a butterfly. All right. That is what I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this. And if you did, and you want to learn more about how to break these limiting beliefs around writing a book, you want to see what a book can actually do for you in your life and in your business, then text the word free to 661-669-7363. Again, that's free to 661-669-7363. And I'll send you a copy of my book, Big Idea to Bestseller, that goes a ton in depth on how you can write, publish, and launch your very own nonfiction book. So I hope that you had a great time with this. And I challenge you to ask yourself, who do you want to become when you write a book? Are you ready to accept that your life will never be the same because you wrote a book? Get after it and let's freaking go.